Mr. Chair.
James Shaw.
I would like to speak to the commencement date as outlined in Clause 2 of the bill as well. And I note that in my last call I asked Mr Woodhouse, the Minister and the Chair, if he would respond to a number of questions, which he did not. And one of them, or in fact a couple of them, relate directly to this clause, which is the commencement date. So what we know is that the government has said that they wanted to introduce this immediately and have taken the attitude that if you're not already currently enrolled in the scheme, then the chances that you are ever going to get enrolled in the scheme were low to none. And so what would be the harm in an immediate commencement? But we also know that there are people out there who have started, who have been thinking about it. We know from behavioural economics that there's a substantial tail of people for whom it's kind of a complicated process and they'd like to get round to it, but they have not yet gotten around to it. And the question is, why not just extend this out, have it commence at a later date, in order to incentivise those who are currently not in the scheme but were kind of thinking about it to actually get into the scheme? Yes, it would cost a little bit more money, but if the intention here is to scoop up as many people as possible using the incentive, then we ought to do that. I know that there are a number of amendments. There's David Clark's amendment pushing it out to after the next election. There's also Fletcher Tabuto's amendment pushing it out by a couple of years. Even if, and I take the Labor Party's point, I think is a valid one, which is that if you commence this bill immediately, but the rest of the hardship package not until the beginning of the next financial year, then there is a substantial gap there between the commencement of this cut and then the implementation of the benefits increases. Then why not just line them up? Why not say, let's commence this at the start of the next financial year? And that gives people an incentive. If they're currently not in the scheme, it says you've got 8-9 months to get yourself into the scheme. It makes perfect sense to do that. And then after that, it'll be gone. The incentive will be gone. People have had fair warning, and at the same time, you've joined it up with the rest of your benefits package that you've been talking about. So to me, it makes perfect sense to do that. And I haven't yet heard anybody from the government say anything about why it was chosen to have this immediate and retrospective commencement date, and whether there was any consideration at all of any kind of a zone where people who are currently not in the scheme could get into the scheme. So I really would like a response to that. And I noticed that Simon Bridges has now taken the government's position here, and I have noted in previous debates that Mr Bridges has responded directly to these kinds of points. So I would like to invite him to do so. And just understanding that, I understand that the vote is going to go the way it's going to go, but it would be nice to hear the government's reasoning in response to that point, because I think it is a fair and valid one. Thank you, Mr Chair.
Fletcher.